Thailand, it's all about the food. It's the national pastime. Thai street food is the most accessible of all types of cooking in the kingdom. It's different from the food that's eaten at home. It's a hybridized cuisine, a blend of all the people who've come to Thailand. But for the Thais, it's not just about the eating. Cooking and food is fundamental to their culture. It gives flavour and texture to their customs and traditions. The love of food is shared by all Thais, and some of the best eating can be found in the markets and on the streets. And here's where we begin this episode. Throughout Bangkok's Chinatown, trade abounds. Merchants of all kinds display their wares. Everything from gold to pickled vegetables and noodles sit side by side. But as with most markets, it's all about the food, and along the alleyways and aisles, an enticing array beckons. This is duck braised with 5 spice, one of the classic dishes of this area. This place is said to have the best duck in Chinatown, and they've sold out. And day in, day out, that's what they do. It's 1 hour of operation, so I'm really lucky to be here to actually have this duck. Duck braised with soy and 5 spice, bet palo in Thai, is a dish that epitomizes this area. This is an unusual thing, but serving it with palo duck is in broth made of pork dumplings and watercress. I haven't seen watercress ever used in a dish before in Thailand. It's something that is truly, truly Chinese, because although we're in Bangkok and although they speak Thai here, it's still very much Chinatown. Even on the hoardings above every shop, you'll see some Chinese writing, because they have not yet forgotten, nor wish to forget, from whence they came, China. The Chinese have been coming to Siam for centuries, but there was a massive influx of immigrants in the late 19th century that fed Siam's modernization. Old Chinatown in Bangkok. It's really a very small area. It was so close to the river, to the market, just a few streets away. Shall we go? I need to look what's going on. Look at that house up here. And here we are, literally in the middle of the street, Yarawat, in the middle of Bangkok's Chinatown. That's where the best food is to be had, on the main street where modern Bangkok pulses through this busy, busy thoroughfare. Yarawat was one of the first established areas of Bangkok and contains some of the oldest houses and streets to be found. And what's so special about this area is that we can move easily from the present back to the past. Yarawat, from the mayhem that this main street undoubtedly is, to here, away from the din, it's almost like stepping back in time. Parts of the area are just so old, so established, that even the trees have taken root in the very foundations. Over the wall is a mosque, nearby is a Chinese Christian church, and up the street is a Buddhist temple. all these communities lived close together, and their food, Thai street food, developed from this mishmash of communities into something that it's become today, utterly delicious. A walk through Chinatown is like a stroll through time, past temples and gods, shops and houses, and although much has changed, this area is still an engine of commerce. We're now walking along one of the oldest streets in Bangkok, Soi Sampang, and you have layer and layer and layer upon past. You can see it in these old buildings in every aspect. I mean, you were saying before how each street name was quite different, and how each street was once a canal or a pathway. ใช่ไหมครับ ก็คุณอธิบายสำหรับประวัติศาสตร์หน่อย
เส้นนี้ก็คือถนนเส้นแรก
เส้นแรกใช่ไหม
ขอ
ครั
ง
บ
กรุงรัตนโกสินทร์เพราะว่าเมื่อครั้งที่สร้างย้ายกรุงมาจากกรุงธนบุรีนะครับพระเจ้าอยู่หัวเนี่ยสั่งให้คนจีนเนี่ยอพยพมาอยู่ระหว่างคลองสามปลื้มถึงคลองสาม
อพยพใช่ไหมครับ
There are immigrants from all regions of China, the Hokkien, Hakka, Hainan, but most of all the Daochu, whose influence can be seen in the language and food of Yarawat.
จะมีอาหารหลากขายอยู่ทั่วๆไปเป็นพวกข้าวต้มนี่จะได้เห็นนะครับ
ใช่มีข้าวต้ม
มีข้าวต้ม
มีเกาลัดใช่ไหมครับ
แล้วก็จะ
แล้ว
เป็น
ก็มีต้มเครื่องในใช่ไหมครับ
มีทุกอย่างเลยครับเพราะว่าลักษณะของทัวร์สตรีทอย่างเงี้ยก็จะเป็นอาหารที่เป็นอาหารจีนมาแต่
ใช่
เดิม
เป็นอาหารจีน
ใช่ไหมครับ
จริงๆ
จะเป็นก๋วยเตี๋ยวจะเป็นอะไรนะเป็นอาหารจีนแต่ละเพราะว่าเนื่องจากที่เนี่ยเป็นชุมชนใหญ่ที่สุดของชาวจีนซึ่งอยู่มาแต่เดิมดังนั้นอิทธิพลของอาหารทั้งหมดก็จะเป็นอาหารจีนทั้งหมด
From shophouse and street signs to the way that food is prepared and eaten, the past and present with all of its traditions are entwined here on the streets of Chinatown.
And here's an old shop that's boiling bamboo, Chinese bamboo, that will go into some stir fries and some of the soups and dishes that will be found on the street later tonight.
It takes years to unravel the complexity of this enclave. It certainly takes years to understand the complex history that exists in this area, let alone how Chinatown operates today. But I'll try when Thai street food returns.
I think you get a greater feel for what old Chinatown was like. If you look up onto the second floor, look above you as you're walking around Yarawat and Dalat Gao. It's almost as if beneath its course is modern Bangkok, busy and occupied with enterprise and business and commerce. And yet above sits an older Bangkok, an older Chinatown. To me, it's endlessly fascinating as the maze of Yarawat itself.
Yet here, on one of the busiest streets of Bangkok, is a wonderfully atmospheric store, rooted in the past, yet selling to modern Bangkok.
I love shops like this. To me, they just encapsulate the present and the past.
This shop has been selling goods for 3 generations and catering to as many generations of customers.
ขายพวกผลิตภัณฑ์อย่างอื่นอันใช้ในการใช้ในชีวิตประจำวันมันมีการถึงพวกกระดาษไหว้เจ้าตามธรรมเนียมประเพณีแล้วก็มีการขายน้ำเครื่องดื่มสมุนไพรซึ่งได้ตำรามาจากเมืองจีนในปัจจุบันซึ่งจะมีความฉาบฉวยมากกว่าใช่ไหมครับอันนี้ที่ทำให้เราถือว่าเราควรจะเก็บตรงส่วนนี้ไว้ให้อยู่ได้นานที่สุดเท่าที่จะนานได้สำหรับตัวผมนะครับ
It shows you the connection between Thailand and China and their food. Street food had its origins in Chinese shops like this, and that's what makes this shop so special, because this shop has some soul, it has some substance, it's real, it's unique.
The Chinese have changed much of Bangkok. They also brought with them a custom that transformed Thai culinary habits, eating on the streets. Here is an inherently local dish, pork stir-fried with yellow beans and ginger.
This is a relatively simple dish to prepare, befitting of it's on the streets. All I need is some garlic and coriander and a little bit of ginger that I'll pound into a paste. I'll slice my pork and I'll stir fry it with some of the yellow beans. It's fast, it's simple, and despite it being so simple, it's quite delicious. One of the tricks that really is important when you're cooking, when you're using a pestle and mortar, is to add salt. It acts as an abrasive when pounding up your ingredients.
Add the coriander roots first because they take the longest to achieve a paste. Then add some ginger, white peppercorn and some peeled garlic.
Some pork. I'm using pork cheek, but you can use fillet, you can use loin, almost any cut of pork.
Slice the pork quite finely against the grain of the meat.
A little bit of oil in the wok, not too much. As you can see, it's damn bloody hot. So, for a second, then I'm adding my pork. Adding my ginger, adding my shallots, adding my yellow beans, now I'm going to season by adding some white pepper, some white sugar, a pinch of star anise, a touch of vinegar just to clean it up, little bit of water just to moisten.
Stir fry the ingredients so everything cooks evenly. And this dish should be eaten with lots of steamed rice.
And that's it. Simple and easy as the streets themselves.
What the Chinese contributed to Thai culture, it's huge. I think the list would be very long, all the way to Sunday, I think.
And Dr. Wasana is a professor of Chinese studies at Thailand's premier university, Chulalongkorn. She has studied the long relationship between the Thai and Chinese, stretching back over several hundred years.
The largest number of ethnic Chinese outside mainland China is in Siam.
Isn't that extraordinary?
Thai people also learn to be food hawkers, food vendors from the Chinese. This is a very traditionally Chinese profession.
Chinatown was established at the end of the 18th century and developed from marshland into the hectic marketplace of today. Chinese culture has had a great impact on the Thais. They share many things in common.
One important thing is their love for food, for fine cuisine. And both Thais and Chinese are very good at incorporating foreign elements into their cuisine so that sometimes you don't even realize it's Chinese. The food in Chinatown, I would like to call it cosmopolitan Chinese food. And there's a lot of Western elements in it that came in with the Western influence during the 19th century.
Which ones would they be?
Well, first of all, did you know that ketchup is a Chinese invention? Back in the days when it was still okay to have shark fin soup, the Bangkok Chinatown way of having shark fin soup is to have it with English mustard.
Isn't that extraordinary?
Yes.
One bites and the other one bites.
Yes.
We can add to that list bean curd, noodles, dumplings of all kinds, the use of pork and duck, soybeans, yellow beans, items which the Thais have now incorporated into their cooking. Next on Thai street food, a walk through one of the largest markets in Bangkok. And later, I'll taste one dish that's the best of its kind. Running off Garawat, through a rather nondescript entrance is Dalat Gao, which literally means the old market.
Dalat Gao is a market of endless fascination. On every side, there's food, there's cooked food, there's uncooked food, there's vegetables, there's fish kicking alive, chopped and ready to go. It's a fascinating place. You know, over here, for instance, we have all the wherewithal for Chinese food, because after all, this is a Chinese area. And the ingredients that are sold here are much different from the Thai markets.
There's an endless variety of ingredients available down this alleyway, which opens from the crack of dawn and is crowded throughout the day. There's scallops, plajin, that's Chinese fish, snapper and much more.
This is unpeeled ginto nuts. Lots of stuff everywhere. This is fish stomach, or it's not really fish stomach because the real fish stomach is now too expensive. It's a bladder of a fish. It's often now made out of pork skin, pork rind. Dried mushrooms, stock my gin, which are lily stalks. And you can see over here noodle shops, everything. Because this is Chinatown, and so the food is Chinese. Even the language here is slightly different. Those who speak Thai speak with an accent that even I can discern. But then there's also Chinese spoken here, not Mandarin, but it is Teochew, which is the major speech group of this city. And here's a little strange number. You've got white Chinese chives and black skinned chicken. The black skinned chicken is deemed to be particularly healthy, and they'll double steam it, a Chinese technique, a purely Chinese technique.
This market was first established in 1840. It's one of Bangkok's oldest, and even though I've been coming here for nearly 25 years, there are still surprises to be found.
Just behind me is an old warehouse area where they're steaming rice cakes, they're making dumplings, they're doing things that are sold on this larger market area, Dalat Gao.
Amidst the produce, there are noodle and dumpling shops, many of which have been run for generations, and given the Chinese heritage, they are always popular.
Shops such as this are found everywhere, and they're always full of character and delicious food. This one is run by Jia Dang, which literally means the Chinese woman called Dang, and that's exactly what she is.
They sell fish, prawn and crab dumplings here, as well as a variety of pickled vegetables.
อันนี้ก็อร่อยนะเมื่อกี้คุณกินด้านออกหวานอันนี้จะออกเค็มเปรี้ยวเค็มแต่ยำเหมือนกันเลยทีนี้มันไม่มีน้ำมันมันก็เลยหวานไม่เข้าไปแต่ก็ใช้ได้แต่อันนี้มันมีน้ำมันแล้วก็หวานมันเลยติดมันก็ออกทุกรสเห็นป่ะอร่อยทั้งสองอย่างขายดีมาก
You could easily spend a morning in Dalat Gao and just as easily get lost in its maze. Around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the market begins to quieten down. By 9 o'clock tonight, it will be empty. Nearby is a place that I believe sells the best oyster omelette in Bangkok.
Without a doubt, this is the best oyster omelette place in Bangkok, or at least I think so. I've been coming here for about, I think 9 years now, but in fact this shop, Nai Mong Hoi Tot, has been going for about 50 or 60 years with a recipe that is different from most other oyster omelettes in Bangkok.
There are other dishes available, but I've never really been able to pass up on the delectable omelette, which is made from fresh oysters, tapioca batter, eggs and lard, and uses a recipe that has not changed since this place first opened.
What I've just ordered was a very dry omelette. And when I say dry, in Thai that means really crispy and brown. And I think that makes the best type of omelette, really. What she's doing, what Jum is doing, she's cooking over charcoal first of all. Using a little bit of pork fat, she then pours in the batter. ที่ใช้อะไรครับในน้ำนี้ครับมีอะไรบ้างแป้งมันอย่างเดียวค่ะแป้งมันผสมน้ำใช่ไหมครับ Just some tapioca flour mixed with some water, almost like a slurry, and fries that off with an egg and pork fat. And keeps on frying that, stirring it around, shirring it almost on this very, very old skillet. I think the skillet is almost as old as the shop somehow. But what is interesting, what I think makes this omelette is the fact that it's cooked over charcoal. And see how it's beginning to colour just that little bit. ขอเอากรอบกว่าด้วย just กรอบใหม่ครับเพราะว่าผมชอบ I'm asking for it to be cooked even a little bit more because I like that charred, almost charred flavour. จะใช้เวลานานเท่าไหร่ครับปกติ2 นาทีก็กรอบ2 นาทีใช่ไหมครับแล้วก็จานนี้เป็น piece ใช่ไหมครับ
Outside, Kunyai sits with her granddaughter and she tells me that Chinatown hasn't changed much over the years. Nor has her omelette, I think, and that's a good thing.
ขอบคุณมากหนูปิ่นนะครับแล้วก็ทำหนักไหม
ไม่หนักค่ะบอกเลย พูดสิหนูพูด
เอาคำที่อายครับ ขอบคุณมากครับ There we are, oyster omelette place with Kun Eng, her daughter, the 4th generation. This shop will continue for quite some time, not only because the family works in it, not only because they bought the place, but because it tastes so good. Chinatown, it's always been on the cusp of change. It's been at the center of Bangkok, at the heart of its commerce. There's always an innovation. There's always something new that happens here. But even though there is something new, there's always retains some remnants of the past. This part of Bangkok has layer upon layer of history, of cooking, of cuisines, of families. They're all interleaved together, woven together to form the fabric of this fascinating part of Bangkok. I love it.
And on the next episode of Thai Street Food, we'll leave the streets and markets and move to a more elevated realm. I'll prepare and present some dishes to monks and hopefully make some well-needed merit and improve my karma.